Just before this episode starts, if you enjoyed the Legged podcast, we produce 4 exclusive bonus episodes per month for our private members club on patreon.com. For the price of £1 a week, that's just £4 a month, the price of a beer or a fancy coffee. We produce these bonus episodes that have special guests on, various topics, and there's also merchandise offers and various bonuses you can have, competitions, all kinds. Get over there, support us, support the podcast by giving just £1 a week. Link is below.
This episode of the podcast is kindly sponsored by Feel Supreme. Feel Supreme have been sponsoring the podcast for a number of weeks now. They're an incredible company. They've got the most diverse range of supplements. I've got some here, the CBD, which I've been taking, which is brilliant. The mushroom extract as well, which I've been taking once a day. They've got vitamin D3, vitamin C, a huge range of different health supplements, and you can get 10% off if you go to the code below, go to the link below, which is feelsupreme.co.uk/legit, and you get 10% off by clicking through and going through their website through that link below. Please support them. They've been a huge support of the podcast. They've got the most incredible products that I take daily, myself and Andy take daily as well. So anything you can do to support them ultimately supports us. Everything CBD, vitamin D3, vitamin C, which is obviously vitamin D3 massive at the moment, and vitamin C obviously really important for immune support. So go to the link below, click through, and you'll get 10% off your order. Radio, it's a Legged podcast with myself, Tom Wickstead.
It's me, Andy Grant, and we have El Tornado, Tyler Goodjohn.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for your hospitality as well.
Well, sort of.
No, mate, I was saying before, it's a brilliant backdrop anyway for this podcast. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Mate, so we just said off air then, so you put a post up saying basically, I think you're going to reveal a bit what's happened in America in the last few months, and I must have had about 5 to 10, maybe more actually. I think it might have been about, over 10, I think. Either comments or direct messages saying, mate, you need to speak to this guy. And I'd never heard you at this point. Looked at your profile and was like, fucking hell, this guy's a character. And then reached out, mate, so thanks for it happening, but...
Oh, it's a pleasure, mate. It was an adventure. That's how I explain it to everyone. Everyone who asked me how America was, I reply, it was an adventure.
Matt, I always think in these situations, before we talk about America, like, obviously we're in your gym now, how did this whole bare knuckle boxing and how did this all happen? Like, was boxing in your blood from an early age, or? Yeah,
so I started boxing at 10. My mum and dad just took me to the gym just to lose weight. I was like, I would have said I was quite a shy kid, quite a quiet kid, really, nothing like I am today. I was just overweight. And I remember, like, my dad was just sort of at that stage in your life, it's all about football and stuff like that. So my dad took me down to the boxing gym to lose weight, and I lost my first 7 fights in a row as an amateur. Luckily I was like 11, so you sort of just took it on the chin.
Yeah.
You didn't have your mates ribbing you about it and that. So I just cracked on, and it just stuck with me, right?
Mate, even that, I'm not a psychologist or nothing, but going into something like bare knuckle boxing, where it's pretty obvious you've got to be pretty resilient and determined, do you think that had an impact on you then? You're losing 7 fights in a row, because that's to keep on going and you're losing 7 in a row.
Yeah, like, I've just always been I'm super competitive or whatever I do. I don't want to be beaten. Do you know what I mean? I want to make it work no matter what I do. And like I say, luckily, perhaps like if I'd been 18 and lost 7 fights in a row, and you had to deal with your mates every day going, you've lost 7 fights in a row, maybe change my mind. But I was 11. Like I say, I was just eager. I wanted to do it, and by the time I was like 13, 14, I'd lost all that weight, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. I started getting to like the finals of the nationals, and boxing the big boys and doing well against them. So yeah, it just stuck with me, really.
Just snowballed, and you just kept at. Did you do well at school, or was it all about you smiling?
You know what? It was just like I literally can look back at school, and it was just like I was so determined to be a fighter. Do you know what I mean? It was just like it didn't matter. Yeah, that's all I ever wanted to be, a fighter. It was just like watching all the Muhammad Ali's and all that, and just like, and then going to school. I wasn't overly academic, and the fact that I just didn't want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've got a passion for something and you are academic, like a lot of my mates have gone on and done, had great things at school, degrees and everything else, but I just wasn't that way inclined. I was great at PE, liked all the outdoor stuff and and things like that, but being shut in a classroom.
It's good. It's good though, mate, because it's good in the fact that you actually have, like, rather than just not giving a fuck about school, you had something that you actually wanted to aim for. So, if anything, that's probably,
a bit. To be fair, I had I was lucky. I had some really good teachers as well. I'll never forget. I had a teacher at the time called Mr. Smith, and he was like the head of PE, and he got it so that I had a day off a week to go down to my pro gym in London and train with all the pros and everything else. So I had a day off school at like 15 to go and do my boxing that. So I had support from the teachers and stuff like that. To be fair, they could sort of see that how much I was putting into it. So. Yeah, no, I had a lot of love from teachers and that as well, so a lot of support.
And that step up from amateurs to, because you had some real success, didn't you, in the amateurs as well?
Yeah, I won the ABA, the junior ABAs. I got to the final as well. And then, to be honest, you've seen where I'm from today, like right out in the sticks. And the trouble that is, you've obviously not got the scouts for boxing or or football, whatever, coming and sort of seeing that, what the talent is down here. So I was struggling to get into the England squad and stuff like that. I remember I won the ABAs, and I was waiting for my letter for the Four Nation tournament, which if you get to the final of the ABAs, you should automatically go into the Four Nations. Like I say, I won it. And a guy that I actually beat ended up going to the Four, and that got picked over me, and got went and fought in the Four Nations. I got invited to, funny enough, an England camp in Liverpool, real famous gym there. I can't think what it's called.
Rotunda, was it?
Rotunda, that was it.
That's where I train now.
Yeah, brilliant gym, such a good gym. Went up there with the England squad. Anyway, it was like it was almost like a sparring thing. They put you against someone at similar weight and see who was the best, and I got stuck in. Bearing in mind I was probably about 68 kilo at the time. I got put in there with Rocky Fielding.
Yeah.
It was like 80 odd kilos. I was only about 17 at the time, and I tell you what, I remember he hit me with the hardest body shot I've probably ever been hit.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so it was difficult, the amateurs. That's why I turned pro so young, because it was like, it got to the stage where I was starting to get a bit stale. I wasn't getting the fights and stuff like that, because you get to a level in the amateurs where the top boys are only fighting in the championships. They don't want fights in between and stuff like that. So I was getting really stale, and I just said to my pro trainer at the time, and he just said, come over and turn pro. So I turned pro at like 18, 19, which in hindsight, again, I wish I turned pro about 22, 23. It was I was a kid, do you know what I mean?
Why does it make such a difference, those, you think, few years?
I just think you're just not a man, do you know what I mean? You're just not a man at 18, 19. You're not.
Yeah.
You're getting
You think you are?
Yeah, you do. You definitely think you are. But then you're getting in the ring with these 30-year-old guys, and you can feel it, do you know what I mean? It's
like that man strength, isn't it?
Yeah, man strength. You're a kid, do you know what I mean? And so, I learned a lot. I mean, I was telling my mate the other day, I said, with me going up to the pro gym, I was sort of like that kid. I could grow a little bit of a beard and that, so I looked older than I did. And I remember going down there, and they didn't actually know what age I was. I was only like 15 at the time, and I tell you what, I used to take some lickings down there. I used to take some beatings, mate. But I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why they wanted me to turn pro, because they must have laughed at me and thought, this kid's come back again. Because I took some beatings like down there, broke my nose. I remember I got my tooth knocked out down there. I was sparring like Lee Purdy, like Darren Barker, who went on to win a world title and stuff like that. So it was a great experience, but taught me a lot, because I had to graft.
And when you were like 17, did you fall into the trap of like partying and that sort of thing, and the boxing kind of like fell to? Because I think that's probably what happens to a lot of people, is like when you get to that age and there's girls around and there's drinking, there's parties, you lose that passion of, well, in your case, boxing. But
no, that's I've seen so many fighters come and go that way, especially in the amateurs, because you're like 16, 17, 18, like you say, you're at that age where you find girls, you find going out. So I've seen a lot of really talented fighters just go along the wayside and waste their talent. So I was lucky, like I say, when from the age of like 15 to 18, I was going down London a lot. I was living down there, and to be honest, I was living like a professional. And the good thing was, I was alongside, I was training alongside people like Darren Barker and people like that. And you look at how these people are acting, they're professionals, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you want to make anything of this game, you've got to be a professional yourself. So I was grateful to mix in with them kind of people, and that obviously rubbed off on me then.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-discipline, especially at that age, to not, to lose, because it's so easy to lose that passion, isn't it, for I don't know, drinking and parties and women and that sort of thing. So
I remember at the time I was actually living in my trainer's garage. He had like just a like a ladder going up, and like an upstairs bit to his garage, just a sofa bed, that was it. And I was living there for months, and then I started just renting rooms and stuff like that, and then eventually I rented a room with someone I know and lived there for about 6 months, and then I was starting to make enough money out of boxing that I could then get my own flat. So it took a few years but I was living everywhere. I remember my trainer at the time was a born again Christian, so a lot of the time I was just staying in like Christian people he knew, were lending me rooms, so I was just going from room to room, just staying in like Christian.
That's mad.
houses, do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was interesting, and at the time, like when I look back at it now, I wanted it so much that I would have done anything.
I was going to say then, all that's come across already. It's just like this determination to want to fight, doing everything you can.
Yeah,
which is mad in itself to think you're doing all of this sacrifice. Yeah. Just to punch someone and get punched in the face.
It's just a dream, innit? No matter what you want to do, if you want to do something, you've got to work at it. Nothing comes free, does it? So I put the work in, and like now it's paying off. So,
mate, what thing that always frustrates me, and I don't know whether you experienced this, definitely at Boxing Pro, but maybe in Bare Knuckle as well, is we seem to live in a world now where it doesn't matter how good you are, it's how maybe gobby you are, how, I don't know, charismatic you are, how many people you can call out. You can see with like YouTube boxers and stuff now, and the example I always use was Callum Smith. I mean, he just had his big fight against Canelo recently, but until then, he was such a talent. Yeah, he was so quiet, he's so humble, and you think he's not getting the recognition he deserves, whereas someone like maybe Conor McGregor in the UFC fucking gobs off, and look at him, do you know what I mean? And did you find that in the early days and think, right, I'm not getting noticed, I need to start doing stuff?
100%. I lived, like, the amount of people I've told this to, like fighters as well, like, when I lived like an absolute monk when I was a professional club boxer. I didn't go out, I didn't do it, I wasn't that outlandish. I didn't say things that were a bit controversial and stuff like that, and that definitely. I was known for the style of fighting. Like I say, like now I'm always going to be in them fights of the night, because I just, that's my style. But boxing has definitely become a popularity contest now. I mean, you only got to look at the Logan Paul situation. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah. To be honest, it's, in my opinion, boxing took a dip now, and sports like bare knuckle now are doing their thing, thinking boxing's on the decline. We've got an opportunity to become a big sport here. UFC's already probably is the biggest sport in America. So for me, boxing, it's just come down to money, isn't it?
Yeah. And how good marketing and all that sort of,
like if these YouTubers, like I don't have a problem with Logan Paul or any YouTuber fighting and calling it a white collar fight or an exhibition fight or whatever you want to call it. But the minute you start going, oh, it's a professional contest, and he starts calling out people like Alvarez and all stuff like that, it just completely disrespects the sport. Do you know what I mean? And it disrespects all the lads like myself, Callum Smith, all people like that who started at the age of 10 years old, had 70, 80, 90, 100 amateur fights before they turned professional. All of a sudden you've got a guy who's a YouTuber, just said he wants to turn professional, and he's having a professional fight in Madison Square Garden in front of however many people. I know it's generating money and everything else, because this is the argument I have with people online. People who don't fight, they're like, yeah, but people want to see it, people want to pay for it, and it's generating money. And I go, yeah, that's fair enough, but don't call it professional boxing, because that's a slap round the face to all us fighters.
Yeah.
I think as well, mate, listening to what you just explained and what you went through, it takes away for a young kid looking at that, and they think, right, I can do what Tyler's done here, and it can be sleeping on my coach's couch and garages and stuff like that, or I can become famous on YouTube, get a few million followers, and then I can just call someone out. It's just a shortcut way to success, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
Just sending the wrong message, I think, to young people who you can just overnight success. You don't have to put the graft in.
As a kid at school, I used to be telling all my mates, I'm going to be a professional boxer, and the moment I turned professional, that was like a big moment in my life, to then turn around and go, I'm a professional boxer. Do you know what I mean? That was a big achievement for me. Whereas now, to call yourself a professional boxer now, everyone's calling themselves a professional boxer. Do you know what I mean? So it's no real, it doesn't have that same thing that it had.
Yeah, I do agree, mate. I think that if there's money involved and people want to watch it, then and there's viewers, then money will flood wherever the attention is. And if the attention's on YouTube with Logan Paul, or I think his brother called out Conor McGregor, didn't he?
Fuck no.
The thing is, they can call out whoever they want. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to get views. And the trouble is, no publicity is bad publicity. Do you know what I mean? If he can make himself look an idiot calling out whoever, millions of people are still going to watch that video, and it's going to bring traction and everything else. So
it's interesting though, isn't it, that the bare knuckle at the moment then are thinking, boxing's a little, and because it's a massively growing sport. We've had Paul Stredder on, who's bare knuckle. So in essence, you're the second sort of bare knuckle fighter we've had on the podcast, and he was saying the exact same thing, like how mad it's gone with popularity.
If
and
next week you rang me up and went, Andy, it's good meeting you last week, mate. I've got us a deal here, mate. There's 25 million. All you need to do is get in the ring with me for 5 minutes. I know for a fact you'd fucking kill me, but if you go, mate, there's 25 mil there for you.
Yeah.
I'd go, nice one for thinking of me, Tyler. Yeah, I'll meet you next week.
Yeah, mate. It's like when Mayweather and Conor McGregor fought, and obviously they'd done the whole. I mean, they were selling out the O2 for press conferences.
Yeah,
it's madness that was.
And you just got to be thinking, these guys don't hate each other. They're about to make 100 mil each.
Yeah,
so They're not hating on each other.
And it was good entertainment, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like they're like, I like Conor McGregor. I think Conor, he's marketed himself brilliantly. He's done great, and look at him now. He's he's a millionaire and everything else. He's got the fights. What's he, 31, 32? Can pretty much sit back and he's made it. So you can't hate on fighters for making that money. It's just when, like I say, these YouTubers and masquerading as professional fighters, it's not fair. It's not fair on us proper fighters.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
How did your boxing career go then, professional?
So I turned professional at 18, 19. I think I was just 19. I made my professional debut on Tyson Fury's American card at York Hall. The American guy come over. I won that debut. I stopped him in the second round, and then just sort of went from there. I was always struggling a little bit. Again, like obviously with where I was from, I didn't take. Even though I won the nationals, I wasn't a huge name through the amateurs.
And that's a big thing, isn't it? With names, you need the big support. And I know just from being in Liverpool, where there's loads of boxers, sometimes the lads will turn up for fights and there'll be like 200-300 people coming with them. Whereas obviously you've not got that if you're in the sticks. I was lucky. I was fighting on massive shows. I was fighting, I got to fight Wembley Arena, the O2 a couple of times, MEN Arena. I fought in some really good places and on some big shows, but
I was always sort of the away fighter almost. Do you know what I mean? I had to take a lot of hard fights in my pro career just to sort of get bigger fights and stuff like that. A lot of fights that were probably too early in my career. I remember I fought a guy in my 10th fight called Tyrone Nurse, who went on to win the British title, and at the time he'd had like 31-29. And I remember the phone call. It was funny because he'd been mandatory for the English title for a year and a half, and nobody wanted to fight him. Literally nobody wanted to fight him. So he'd been mandatory for a year and a half. I remember being sat in my manager Pete's Range Rover, and we got the call, and he just literally turned to me and went, "Do you want to fight Tyrone Nurse for the English title?" And I was like, "Do I?" And then like I say, and it was I lost the fight on points, but it was an amazing fight. And I remember getting out of the fight and just thinking, do you know what? I couldn't have done it anymore. It was an absolute war. I ended up fracturing my nose. Both my eyes were swollen over. It was just an absolute war at the MEN on Sky Sports and that. But they're the fights that have built me into what I am today. Do you know what I mean? Taking them risks. Like for me, like I can't understand the thinking behind. That guy's been mandatory for a year and a half. Nobody wanted to fight him. I would have ripped your arm off at the opportunity to fight for the English title. Like, what are you in this game for? If you're not in it to test yourself, what are you in it for?
That seems to be the thing again about boxing. It's very tactical in who the fights that you pick, rather than just two men who think, right, I'm harder than you, let's go at it. It's very tactical, isn't it, on who to fight?
To be honest, I probably didn't play the game right. I always wanted the hard fights. I wanted the guys who had a lot more fights than me and stuff like that. And I probably didn't play it right. I probably didn't have the fight, the experience fights building up and stuff like that. I mean, I was doing 10 rounders in like my 5th fight. I just literally went on about a string of about 10 rounders, and they were just wars. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, I don't regret it now, but in hindsight, if I'd played the game a bit better, perhaps I would have got further in the pro glove game. I don't know. Well,
when you think about, if you remember when Anthony Joshua burst on the scene with Eddie Hearn, how his career was managed so well, wasn't it? Because he was the next, he's the next big cash cow, wasn't he, for Eddie Hearn? I remember he was just fighting these kind of, well, you'd look back now and think bums just in little 3-4 rounders, and like you say, if you've not got that, then...
Well, boxing, to be honest, like now, boxing's all about having a good manager, and boxing's more about who you don't fight than who you fight. Like, you look at Frank Warren boxing shows, like, it's funny because you sort of got the Matchroom shows, everyone fights for the WBC, IBF. You go on Frank Warren shows, everyone's fighting for the WBO European. And all these guys are getting these like snide bauble titles, do you know what I mean? Like WBO European Pacific champion and all that, and don't get me wrong, it looks great and everything else, but they're making up these titles and they're avoiding the proper fight. Like, the proper way of boxing for me is like win your area title, win the English title, win the British title, win the European title, win the world title. What guys are doing now they're noticing that, actually the talent in the British division at their weight is very, very good. So they're just jumping straight over the top and they're going WBO European title, and that gets them a ranking in Europe, obviously, and in the world. So you'll notice it so much. Loads of top fighters, the guys with the most potential, are now jumping over the British title and they're going straight for these European type titles and stuff like that, because it just gets them.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It just gets them a ranking in the world, and they've not fought the British champion, who it's a bit of a banana skin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely, that's one thing being in the game. I can notice that. Yeah, it's about who you don't fight more than who you fight now.
It's mad though, isn't it?
You're guided. Do you know what I mean? You're guided to a world title, and let's face it, like, you look at the world title situation, there's about 8 world titles. You've got the WBA Super Champion, the Interim Champion, the Ordinary Champion, the Diamond Champion. Do you know what I mean? So, if I could sit here and say I'm WBA Diamond Champion, I'd still be pretty gassed about it. Don't get me wrong, but it takes away. No one knows really who the number one is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's like back in the day when you had, Ali, Fraser, Sonny Liston, all these guys. You knew who was the heavyweight champ of the world, didn't you? Whereas now, is it Fury? Is it Joshua? Is it?
Like it's up for debate until they fight. And but again, that's just that's a way of promoters
making money as well.
To make money, so I can see why it happens, but it's
Well, mate, when you're walking out like the MEN, I've been to the MEN, obviously Wembley, the O2, those sort of places. Are you like getting carried? Like, are you thinking, "Fucking hell, I've made it here"? Like, this is up here.
It's a weird feeling. I've sort of said to people, like, I boxed at the O2 twice, and they're like, "What's it like boxing at the O2?" And I went, "Do you know what? It's a weird feeling because when you sort of walk out, I can remember like sort of standing at a big curtain like that to walk out, and they like pull it across like that, and obviously there's like 15, 16, 17,000 people like that, but you're so tunnel vision. I can't remember the O2. I just can't remember really walking out. You just tunnel vision, and you just go to the ring, and it's almost like I feel a bit like sorry for myself. I didn't save for the moment a little bit because I can't, like, even now thinking back to it, I was just so tunnel visioned. I can't even really remember the walkout or anything. I was just on it. Do you know what I mean? So it's
even like the security. Like even for me, I can imagine even arriving and like you've got all the different security there. You're going through different like all that like just build up beforehand. And then the O2 obviously underground. I don't know where you walk through, but you've got all these different fucking tunnels you walk. It's very like ominous, isn't it? I'm surprised. So surprising how you can't remember any of that.
Yeah, it's just like we were literally. I remember turning up when I fought for the English or won the English title. I turned up in some tiny little shorts, flip flops. And they literally just went right backstage, went into the change rooms. I mean, to be fair, the change rooms at the O2 are brilliant, massive. They've got TVs up on the wall, so you're watching the boxing on TV while you're getting warmed up and that. And then, before you know it, you're out there. The fights happen, then you're back in your change room. So you're not like overly spending. You're only really spending half an hour out in the ring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Half an hour, 40 minutes by the time it's all said and done. So, like I say, you're just so tunnel vision that, like racking my brain. Like I can remember pictures of it, but.
And that walkout, what was that walkout like?
I remember when I fought Ricky Boylan, it was like, again, I was the away fighter. So Ricky Boylan was 12-0 at the time, and he was like Matchroom's golden boy. So it was like. And he was from London and everything else, so it was like his coming out show. Do you know what I mean? It was like he'd had a little documentary made about him by Matchroom and everything else. So I'd really I don't care what anyone says. I've been brought in to lose. Do you know what I mean? So, but I like that. I like that whole underdog mentality. To be honest, there wasn't a lot of pressure on me really because everyone expected Ricky Boylan to go out there blow me out. So, got in the ring and. Probably one of the best performances I ever put on. Do you know what I mean? Just totally outboxed him. And I remember the walk on that all his lot was screaming at me and stuff like that. And that's why I stayed so tunnel vision because you can get caught up in the emotion of it. You can start shouting back and everything else. But just went in there and done a job. Just I knew I could win that fight. Funny story. I was I fought Tyrone Nurse about 6 months before the Ricky Boylan fight. And Tyrone said, look, the only way I will give up the English title and move on to another title is if Tyler fights for the English title automatically because he wanted to fight me when no one else would fight me. Do you know what I mean? So that was good of Tyrone. And then obviously Ricky Boylan was the new up and coming name in the sport. And I remember I went to go watch my mate Waddy Camacho fight in Glasgow, and obviously being with Eddie Hearn and that, every time I see Eddie Hearn I was like, when are you going to let me fight your golden boy like that? Just putting little seeds in his head. And then I just, honestly, like as bad as it sounds, I was just tormenting Boylan on Twitter for like a month, like just woke up every day, but like that, just calling for the fight because I wanted it. And then I remember he just sent me the tweet, and just went, look, I spoke to Eddie Hearn, the fight's happening. It was in October the 4th or 6th or something. He was like, me and you, English title. And I was like, boom, it's done.
We're on.
What I wanted. And it just went from there. So Yeah, it was good. It was good.
On the back of these successes as well, is there any point where you're thinking, right, that's it, that's my career now, I'm going to be, you know, world champ? Did you see the kind of progression?
It was like the trouble I had. Like, I used to have to make, like, I'm walking around at like 170 odd pounds now, which is like over 12 stone. I used to have to make 140, so 10 stone. And I remember the Ricky Boylan fight on the morning of the weigh-in. I had to lose half a stone on the morning of the weigh-in.
Fucking hell.
Like, yeah, it was just, it was it.
That can't be good for you.
Yeah, no, it was. So I made it, and like I say, I won the fight. And I remember literally going into the matchroom office the next week and being like, I can't make this weight anymore. This, you know, I had to lose half a stone on the morning. But then I got offered the WBC international title, and if you won that, it automatically give you like a top 15 ranking in the world, and you could get a world title shot off the back of that. So obviously, you know, Eddie Hearn smooth chatting me, you know, you can do it one more time, you can fight for the WBC, it's going to be chief support live on Sky, you know, you get a world ranking, everything else. And I just come out of the office and was like, got to do it.
I'll just say no to that.
Yeah, I've got to do it. Like, I'll try and do it one more time. And literally, that's when I found out the saying, you can only go the well so many times. And I remember I lost 18 pounds in the last week. I was just killing myself. I had a really good camp for that fight as well. I went out to Marbella for about 6 weeks. You know, I was training in the heat. I was literally I just could not lose any more weight. I had top nutritionists. I was on like no protein diets, losing muscle, and literally there's nothing more I could have done for that fight. And I got to the week before, and because this WBC, they get you doing like check weigh-ins. So they've rung me on the Monday and they've gone, right, check weigh-in tomorrow, you've got to be 10.4. And I was like 10.12 at the time, so I was like, right. So I lost like 8 pounds overnight to make the check weigh-in. Well, obviously, as soon as I've had a bottle of water again, I've just put all that weight back on. So this is the Tuesday of fight week. Thursday, the day before the weigh-in, I'm back up to 10-12 again. So I've had to lose like another 10-12 pounds again. So that on top of the 8 pound, lose like 18-20 pound in that week. And I remember I was just pissing blood and all that. I was so dehydrated.
But why did they check? Why did they do? What do you mean check weigh-ins? As in, like, to make sure?
To make sure you're not trying to lose so much weight in the last week.
Right, I'm with you.
Everyone does it. Like, everyone does it. It's common knowledge in boxing. Everyone does it. And yeah, I had my best mate with me, and I just said, look, grab your stuff. We've got to go to the sauna. I went and sat in the sauna with sweatsuit, woolly hat on. I sat in there on and off for about 30 odd minutes. I remember losing about 5-6 pounds, and at the time I hadn't told my partner at the time, and she was like, what's the weight like? And I was like, it's only a couple of pounds, it's all right, I'm just going to go sweat it out. Literally, I was in there, like I say, the sauna, I come back, I still had like another 6 pounds to lose, and I just went, look, do you know what, actually I'm struggling. Had a salt bath, red hot salt bath, put a woolly hat on up to my like nose in water like that, had half an hour there, and then put my sweatsuit back on, then a duvet, and then just sat in front of the heater for like half an hour, and I managed to lose like another 5 pounds. And then my mate pretty much just took me to the weigh-in, just so I was like, just get
So physically, how are you there?
If someone had told me a fight there and then, you wouldn't be able to do it. You just wouldn't be able to do it. It was, yeah, it's incredible. I was just like, the only way I can explain it is just like, especially with the fight where I was so dehydrated, it just felt like I was like 2 seconds behind everything. Makes sense. You know what I mean? I was just like, I couldn't react to anything.
Yeah.
Usually my head movement and everything else is you know, what makes me what I am. And I was just, I can remember being in that fight and thinking, right, I'm gonna slip this jab, boom. I just couldn't react to anything. Tried my best to make a fight of it. My eye just pretty much exploded in the second round. I had to have 15 stitches. Just again, where my face was so dry and so dehydrated, my skin just was tore like paper. So I was right up against it.
I always think it's mad how you to think, you know, you're going through that and you're going to fight though. It's not like you're going through that just for, you know, to, I don't know, you're trying to lose a certain amount of weight just because, I don't know, you've been on a diet for whatever reason. It's like you're doing this and then you've got to fight.
I think every fighter will tell you that the hardest bit is making weight. You're like, as soon as you get on that scale and you make weight, it's a massive relief. Do you know what I mean? The battle is over. Like I know. I used to put a full 12-week camp in when when I was making 10 stone, because I had to start getting my weight down early, and like I say, I was going on diets to lose muscle and everything else. So I needed that time scale to make 10 stone. I needed a full 12 weeks. So yeah, as soon as you stepped on that scales and the 10 stone come up, you're like, mission complete.
So is that what got you in trouble then, was it?
Yeah, so...
Because that's a mad... When I heard about that, I thought, that's fucking mad, that.
Yeah, so it was... I remember I had my last pro fight, and then I'd done a podcast for a company, I think it was called like Fight Talk or something like that, and it was just like old war stories type thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, the old fights. This is how I used to make weight, and nothing was sort of said to try and glamorise anything I'd done. It was like, this is how I made weight. I boxed like shit. I wish I hadn't done it. Lesson learned. And then literally, I explained the whole sauna, salt bath situation, and then a week later, the board sent me a letter and was like, we took your licence off you. So I rang them up and was like, what's this all about? And they were like, look, if you want your licence back, you're going to have to come in front of the board, bring a solicitor. And I went, retired, done. After all the fights and all the, everything I've given to you over the years, I was like, it just makes you feel very disposable. The trouble I had at the time was there was a fighter called Scott Westgarth who just fought, and he died fighting for the English title. So I think they just used me as an example, really. Do you know what I mean? Just to sort of be, I spoke about the weight cutting and everything else, and then that weekend Scott Westgarth tragically died.
Just because of the severe weight cutting.
Yeah, well, that was what people were suggesting anyway. That's, I would say, predominantly the injuries that come in boxing. One is, you're taking a lot of punishment over a long time, 10, 12 rounds. And like I say, if anything, I highlighted the fact that all this making weight in boxing is very wrong. And the board, everyone knows it. It's common knowledge. People get going to me, but everyone uses saunas. And you're like, yeah, but they don't want you talking about it. It's all right that it's known that everyone
to do it,
but you talk about it.
So what was the actual crime then that you done? What was the...
Using saunas, salt baths, just making weight in that way. They just, they were just saying that, well, the way they made out was like I was glamorising it. Like I say, I was, it was in the podcast I was saying, look, I got in the ring and I wasn't the shadow of a fighter. I usually am.
Just from that podcast, they listened to it and then fucking hell.
Yeah. So it just, I mean, I'll never be the same with boxing now. It's just.
To me, you feel bitter towards it.
Oh, very, very, yeah. Like I say, I was a pro for 7 years, living in garages, living in, to try and live that dream, and the way that they can just be like, right, we're taking your license from you. You're a number in boxing. You're disposable, unless you're one of these big guys who's earning millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands. Yeah, they don't care. That's it. Like, imagine if Anthony Joshua or someone like that come out with weight cutting. Do you think they'd be getting banned from the sport? Of course they wouldn't. They're making people too.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that you have to be that careful about when you talk about weight. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realise that.
If that lad's died, though, they got an example.
Yeah,
it was perhaps bad timing, whatever.
Yeah.
I think they would have given me some kind of thing to for saying it, but the fact that he died at pretty much the weekend I'd done the podcast.
Yeah, I see what. Yeah. And what were you thinking? Like, obviously that happens. That's a massive blow to you, and you're thinking, like, are you then looking for different avenues to go down? Like, maybe, I don't know, fighting in different countries, or I don't know if that's possible, or had you literally thought about bare knuckle boxing pretty much as soon as?
Not at all.
Happened?
I was like, I'll be honest, I was lost. Like, I'd just done. What was I, 26? So, I've been boxing since like 10, 16 years of my life, dedicated to a sport that I'm now banned from. So, I was very lost. Like, I started a gym up and I was sort of, teaching boxing and stuff like that. But it was hard because at 26, you're not even at your peak yet. You know? So it was a hard pill to swallow. And then I literally see Bare Knuckle Boxing being advertised on the news, on BBC News. They were talking about it, saying it's the fastest growing sport in the world and everything else. And I just went, do you know what? I've got to have a pop at this. Like, this is a bit more my game. Like, you know, that was. I liked being in them fights when we were. I liked being in them fights when you know, where they're absolute wars. I want to be in them memorable fights. You know, I would rather be in a good fight and lose than be in an easy fight and win. Like, that is, you know, maybe that's the wrong way of thinking. I want to be in them good fights. You know.
And how long is Bare Knuckle Boxing? So you saw it when you were 26. So are you 29 now?
I'm 29.
Yeah. So 3 years ago. Is it like when? Obviously, it's been going on for a long time. People fight bare knuckle, but in terms of an actual sport and classed as a sport, it's pretty new. Then, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, from the point I was watching it, when on the BBC News, they were showing like clips of their shows, and they were literally in like leisure centres and things like that. It was very much like grassroots. You know, even the people fighting, you know, weren't coming from a professional background and stuff like that. And then I started speaking, you know, to the promoters of it. I started speaking to two of them in the April, and I fought like early June, so there weren't no messing about. It was literally, I don't think there can be any messing about with bare knuckle. I think you got too much time to think about it, you won't do it. I think you just got to go for it. Like, and I'm glad I did, really.
And without the obvious thing, you know, is there much difference? Obviously, you know, apart from the obvious one, you're not fighting in gloves and all that, but I mean, is the kind of build up different, the feelings you get different? And
it's totally different, and that's why, you know, the majority of fighters in bare knuckle boxing are coming from like an MMA background, because I can, like I say, it's funny how you remember things you say. Like, I got out the ring, the first thing I said to my trainer, when 80% of professional boxers would not be able to do that. I remember the first round of my first bare knuckle fight, sort of obviously coming from like 3-minute rounds and all that kind of stuff. I was, you know, you had the time to, like, I'm a little bit of a slow starter in boxing. Where I was doing like 10-12 rounds, I like to get stronger as the fight went on. Well, with bare knuckle, 2-minute rounds, 5 rounds, you've got to hit the road running. Do you know what I mean? And I fought a guy called Tony Laffey at the time. He'd had 2 bare knuckles and 1-2, and he come through the kitchen sink. It was scary, you know, like, because I mean, the guy coming a stone heavy with me as well. I remember coming to the weigh-in, and I weighed in at 11.4, 11.5, and he coming at like 12.1, and I was like, are these fights not made at weights like this? And then I thought, do you know what, it's let's just get it done. Do you know what I mean? I ain't gonna moan about it. So I got in the ring with him. Like, I mean, you only got to watch the fight on YouTube. The guy's like, you know, he's massive compared to me, and he just come out, and it was a proper baptism of fire. He's like, if anyone knows who Tony Laffey is, look him up on YouTube. He's probably the craziest bare knuckle fighter in the world. He will openly admit, like, he'll put on his advertising his fights, look, you know, come watch me knock someone out cold or get knocked out cold. He's ex-military, Afghanistan. Like, he's just
fucking mad,
hard guy.
You know, that feeling, mate. I've, you know, had tons of fights growing up and stuff. Mostly just, you know, on a night out type thing. That feeling of standing there with someone who, you know, it's not like a tactical boxing. Yeah. He's gonna come at you and try and take your head off. Mm-hmm. I can't get my head around that.
It was just, the thing that I had to get used to quick was, like I say, being a slow starter, coming out, being used to the 3-minute rounds, or sort of coming out, popping my jab, having a little look, and there's no feeling out process in bare knuckle boxing. It is bang. And he, like I say, he come out, I mean, he'd taken people out in the first round in the 2 fights before, so he was obviously, you know, that's the way he fights, come out bombing. And I did start slow, and I remember going back to the corner and my trainer being like, you need to wake the fuck up. Like, you need to get back to your boxing, and you need to wake up, because this guy's bombing. Like, some of the hooks, when I watched that fight back, if he'd caught me, he would have put me in Rose Ed with some of them hooks. They were big. yeah, so
What happened with that fight then?
I ended up knocking him out in the last round.
Did you?
Yeah, so he, yeah, like I say, the first round. I mean, you know, on YouTube, the fight's on YouTube. It's a great
I'll have
fight.
a watch.
To be honest, it's like, you know, I'm not just saying it. If you want to get into bare knuckle boxing, that's the fight to watch because it's pure entertainment. We just slugged it out for 5 rounds. I put him over in the second round. I got a bad cut on my forehead. It was just squirting blood like an 80s horror flick. It was literally just squirting blood out like the adrenaline. And then yeah, we were just toe to toe for 5 rounds, and then he come out and I hit him with this shot. I mean, if you're going to pull a shot out, like I've hit him with this overhand right. And BKB have got a 20 count, so it's not a 10 count. So I don't know how, to this day, I don't know how he got up. Like, he got up and he's like staggered towards the referee, and the referee's going right, fight on like that. And I've turned around to the ref and said, look, the guy can't even walk. Like, you've got to pull this fight. And he's going, fight like that. So you can see me open my arms like that and just go, right, okay, like that. And I went over to him. I just had to put him over again and finish him off.
Fucking hell.
But I mean, fair play to him. Like I said to him afterwards, I just went, mate, you are so tough. Like, no one else would have got up from that shot. The way he sort of turned and like flipped on his back with this shot I landed in, and I was just like, mate, how did you get up from that? But tough.
And you come away from that first fight then thinking, yeah, I want a fucking piece of this.
Do you know what? I generally, I don't think I slept for 2 days. Like, the adrenaline was just, after that fight, I was just, it was so different to glove boxing. Like, obviously you get that adrenaline feeling after a fight with boxing, but after bare knuckle, it was, I didn't sleep for 2 days. And then I've got mum and my dad going, right, that's enough now. You've had the one bare knuckle, that'll do. And I'm like, it's like a drug, isn't it? Like, just like, no.
Yeah.
I've had the taste now. And then, yeah, my second fight was against another really tough Scottish guy. He called me out on Instagram, and he was a weight above me. He called me out, and he was unbeaten as well. So I accepted the fight. And then I beat him as well, and that fight couldn't have gone any better in my book. He, I mean, there was a lot of animosity before the fight, and he was, I mean, the guy's super, super tough, but I literally made a highlight reel out of the guy. Like, it just, yeah, that video went, I think on YouTube, it had like 2 million views and stuff like that, and yeah, it was ridiculous. The fight was good. He just come forward, he come from a K1 background. He was like European K1 champion. So I mean, he was a talented fighter, but he just suited me down to the ground. He really wanted to come out of a fight, and I think I got in his head as well. So, you know, he was chasing me and stuff like that, and literally the fight couldn't have gone any better.
Are you looking to put on a show, like a highlight? Or are you kind of thinking, now, right, I need to make a bit of a name for myself, I need to...
Yeah, I mean, that fight, to be fair, like, I've always said, like, I look best against people who come and have a fight with me. You know, I'm a sort of counter puncher fighter, and yeah, that fight, it literally couldn't have gone any better. He suited me down to the ground. He just come and had a fight with me, and I love that. I'll lap that up all day. The people that I struggled with were the ones that sort of like jabbed and move, and you know, them kind of ones who didn't want to get involved really. So yeah, them first 2 bare knuckle fights were brilliant, because they're just coming through everything at me.
And what is camp like versus just normal glove boxing? Is it, you know,
you still living that monk lifestyle, or
Yeah.
you starting to...
Do you know what? One thing I have said, like, you know, going from where I lived, that monk lifestyle, one thing I will say, when I was a kid, I was living on my own, 20, 21, 22, 23. When I say I lived a monk lifestyle, I thought, lock yourself in your flat, lock yourself in your flat. And I did live like that, and I got very, very depressed. I started seeing therapists and everything else, and it was sort of like, I didn't understand why I was getting so down, but 1, I was making a silly way. You know, 2, I wasn't seeing anyone. All I was doing was training and then, you know, sleeping, essentially. So yeah, it was tough, and now going into the bare knuckle, I've just got a happy medium where I enjoy my training, but I'm also enjoying my life now, and I think that's reflecting in my performances. You can see that I'm enjoying myself when I fight, whereas before, like I say, it was just, you know, the biggest thing for me was making the weight. I remember when we were training in Marbella, we had this big 4-bedroom house, swimming pool. I was with all my stable mates were all training, but I was like the only one who had a massive fight. So the rest of them were training but could eat what they wanted. I remember they were like ordering takeaways every night, and I used to put myself to bed at like 7 o'clock. And what I used to do is I used to take an apple with me. This is God's honest truth. I used to take an apple with me because I knew I'd be waking up about 2 in the morning feeling sick, hungry. I'd slice it in half. I'd wake up at like 2 in the morning, eat that half of apple. It would put me back to sleep, and then I'd get up again 5, feeling sick, hungry. I'd eat the other half, and that would put me to sleep for like another hour or two, like that. And I used to do that religiously for about 3 weeks out from my fight because I was just so hungry. Obviously, once I've had my calories on my dietary sheet, that's me done. I can't have any more. So yeah, like you'd be laying in bed at night and like starving, hungry, and you can't sleep and everything else. And in the next door, they were all winding takeaways down. I remember we went to the Hard Rock Cafe restaurant in Marbella, and all the boys are eating steak and chips and all that. I've brought a Tupperware box, right? Honestly, I had a spoon, right? Tiny spoon. I ordered it off the internet, and I'm eating skinny soup out of Tupperware in Hard Rock, right? While everyone's winding steak and chips down, and I've got this. So yeah, it was something that was making that weight.
And training, why? Like, in terms of training, obviously, because you don't want to fuck your knuckles up, do you? Are you like training with gloves then? Is that how it works? Obviously, with bare knuckle then.
Yeah, so like when I'm doing like my bag work and sparring and stuff like that, we're using gloves because like, the last thing you want to do is be taking an injury into a bare knuckle fight, going in there with a bad hand, right? The one thing I've struggled with most with bare knuckle, I kept breaking the same finger over and over again. Every time I fought, I kept breaking that finger, like there. So I went to see a surgeon, and they were like, look, you know, the only way we're going to be able to cure this is by putting a pin in it. And I said, well, yeah, but if I put a pin in it, can I not just break it again when I punch? I said, yeah, but that's the risk you're going to take. So I went into the Sean George fight, the World BKB fight, with a broken finger, and I injected it with lidocaine before I got in the ring. Couldn't feel it.
I saw that on the that was on the documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, no fighter goes into a fight 100%. That's a myth. Nobody. Boxing, MMA, nobody ever, like, you know, you've been training 10-12 weeks, you're going to pick injuries up along the way, but yeah, going into a bare knuckle fight with broken fingers wasn't ideal.
So is it still broken? Obviously, it's still.
Do you know what? Right, so I tore my labrum about, like, I'd done it in my last professional glove boxing match. I tore my labrum right in my shoulder. So again, that was a whole thing. I had a bit of time off, and then I got into the bare knuckle. And I remember the bare knuckle. Yeah, I had an operation booked in for my shoulder about 2 months after my bare knuckle fight. So I was just running. I was fit, you know. I was doing all my cardio, but I couldn't do no strength stuff. Had the fight, and then it was killing me, but the operation was like 6 months in a sling, and I was obviously working at the time. You know, who can take 6 months off work?
Yeah.
I was a PT and everything else, and I was like, do you know what? I can't do this. So I went to see my physio, and she just went, do you know what? The only thing you can try and do now is rehab. So I went with a rehab coach on my shoulder, and I swear to you, my shoulder's never been so strong. I do CrossFit and rehab on my shoulder. It's never been as strong. And we do a lot of like grip work, a lot of wrist strength and stuff like that. And I swear to you, my finger, like, bearing in mind, like, it's so straight now. Yeah. Bearing in mind, the surgeon himself said the only way you're going to fix that is by putting a pin in it. And I've just been doing loads of grip stuff and that, and it's perfect.
It's fine now, yeah.
I had that fight in America, it didn't bother me. So rehab is the way forward. You know, surgery doesn't fix it. You know, it isn't guaranteed to fix it. I'm a total believer in rehab stuff now. Yeah.
And that documentary we just mentioned then, what's it called again?
Unbroken.
Unbroken.
Yeah.
So we watched that, mate. It's incredible, really well put together. And that's about your third fight, which was the championship fight, which you won. Mate, you won, fair play, congratulations. But your face after it, fuck me, mate. Like, it's fucked. Like,
and I won that fight as well. That's the hard thing to explain to people, because they're like, I had to go to hospital after the fight. I remember. Yeah,
you go back to the hotel room, don't you? But then you
looked like you were in the duvet, weren't you?
Do you know what the worst bit is? Like, I was literally like, for after the fight, you sort of go back to get checked out and everything else, and you're riding on adrenaline, so you're right. But yeah, that hour afterwards, when I got back to the hotel, I was just I went into shock. I was freezing cold, like absolutely. I had like 2 duvets around me. I was freezing cold, shivering like that. And my girlfriend at the time, she was just like, your head's just swelling so much. That's like, I look like Hey Arnold, that 8-foot. I had a massive head like that. And me being me, I was like, no, I'll be all right. And she was like, I'm telling you now, you've got to go to hospital. Like, your head's so swollen. And we went to a really, really busy hospital right in Banstead, in the middle of London. Walked into A&E, the place was just full of people and like that. And I literally got took straight through, because I think they thought that I'd been beaten up in the street. At the time, they were like, and I went, honestly, look, Google me, I'm a fighter. Just had a fight with the O2 and stuff like that. They Googled me and that. And once they found out I was a fighter, I mean, they were super helpful and everything for me. But I looked like I'd had a proper kicking, do you know what I mean? Like, so.
Did they thought it was like a brain injury, or like there was worry about? Because if you're freezing, mate, there's something not right there, is there? Like, your body's going into shock and like.
Yeah. Like, it was. I mean, to be fair, that's happened in 2 of the bare knuckle fights. When I fought Lafferty in the first fight, I remember I didn't take that many punches, but obviously when you're in the clinch, you're like you're punching wherever you can. So I had a cricket ball sized lump on the back of my head. And again, like after the fight, you're buzzing and everything else. So I've gone and seen the doctor. They've just gone, look, that looks like a hematoma. You need to keep an eye on that, ice it, all that kind of stuff. So I've gone back to the hotel with my mates. Everyone wants to get on the piss. I got like halfway through a bottle of Corona. I went to go to the toilet. As I was on the piss, I've just gone, blacked out. Got on the floor like that. My mates have had to carry me outside. I got an ambulance.
Jesus.
And my mate just said, I'll never forget it when you went so pale and your lips were blue, and he was just like, mate, I thought you died. And then I went to hospital. I just had bad concussion, got all rehydrated and everything else. And I was alright, but that was scary. Like, the room just went completely black.
And yet you'd done it again.
I'd done it again, yeah. It was just, and then, like I say, the third fight against Sean George, with my head swelling the way it was, I went to hospital. It was just again, I had bad concussion, and it was more like just cuts and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like the facial damage. I mean, to be fair, it looks worse than it does.
I mean, he's a big guy as well. You beat him like he looked a big, tough guy as well.
Yeah, Sean is. You talk about bare knuckle boxing. Sean's been about, I think he had like 18, 19 bare knuckle fights.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's an experienced guy. And at the time, that was only my 3rd bare knuckle fight. So I think he'd had about 17 at the time. So yeah, it was a big fight. He's so tough, just a tough guy. And Sean as well. He's known for being like one of the fittest guys in bare knuckle. And I put myself as, I train super, super hard. No one comes close to my fitness, but actually Sean, he trained like 2-3 times a day, and his fitness was great. And I think that fight, honestly, like both of us put on such a good performance. You know what I mean? But I can sit here and go, it was a great fight and a great win for me. But Sean done his bit. It takes 2 to tango, and we put on a hell of a fight that night.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of respect for both you and him had a lot of respect for each other on that.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, me and Sean now don't get on. He's like, I think a few things have been said and stuff like that, but I'll never stop respecting the guy. Like, the guy's tough, do you know what I mean? The guy's very fit, very determined. And like I say, I always say, I give him his props when it comes to that documentary. You can talk to me about me as much as you want, but that guy done put his fair share in as well. So it was a wicked fight.
And your mum as well, just always like fucking hell, like fair. Obviously fair play to her because she lets you do it, and obviously you're just going to do it, aren't you? But I mean, she looks every time she just nerve-wracking sort of stuff for her, and I'm surprised she lets you carry on. But
yeah, my mum's that woman who absolutely hates it, but she's never missed a fight. Can't not be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, mum's a 5 foot quiet little woman who's produced this lunatic bare knuckle fighting porn star.
Well, now that you've mentioned it, with the bare knuckle boxing, then you've got to that level, and third fight in, champion. Where the fuck does the porn star bit come into it? So
it come about. I went to after my second bare knuckle fight, I became, like I say, off the back of that, I think I got a highlight video, and Frank Mir and all people like that were sharing it, like big UFC names. So like my name was getting all over the world. I remember, like I say, it was, well, at the time it was close to 2 million views on the fight and stuff like that. And so yeah, I was getting a name in bare knuckle. I went to the show, and at the time the shows were being shown on Television X. So the walk-on girls were porn stars, do you know what I mean? And well-known porn stars as well. So of course I got amongst it, don't I? And ended up dating one of the girls. And then yeah, she sort of corrupted me, really.
So tell it
on the dating bit, is it what probably everyone's thinking, to date a porn stars and compared to dating a normal girl?
No, it's totally different. Yeah, it's a wild life. I mean, when I look back on it now, to be honest, it's changed my view on relationships and everything now as well. It's the sex industry is, I mean, one, it's massive. Two, it's like the amount of money it's worth and things like that. And three, it's very, very taboo. People have got very preconceived ideas. And to be fair, I had preconceived ideas as well. And then obviously being with her, seeing stuff happen and hearing the stories and everything else, like now I could quite happily be with a girl in the industry. She'd go to work in the day, I go to my work, and then we'd be back at night.
No.
Really? Yeah. You'd be fine with that, yeah?
No way.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just, porn is so, it's you have to see it, do you know what I mean? It is work. Like, she used to explain it to me and be like, it's like WWE. And I used to laugh and be like, what? Like that. But actually, it is. Do you know what I mean? It's not like what people think. But
well, the word actor's in it, isn't it? Porn actor. Do you know what I mean? So when you say that, yeah.
But when you're developing feelings for someone, surely it changes then. I get if you're just dating or something, but once you start developing feelings.
Yeah, I mean, at the start, I struggled with it badly at the start. I was like, do you know what I mean? Like, more than anything, because she was a well-known porn star, like, my mates would sit, like, my mates...
Can you say who it was, can you know?
Yeah, Lester Savage, her name's Lester Savage. I mean, she is well-known, and my mates knew of her before they knew that I was, dating her and everything else. So that was something that was, quite hard. So, I was like, right, all my mates are seeing her get fucked online, do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it was like she did sort of, like I say, you have to see it for yourself almost, really.
Is there a bit of you that's intimidated if you've seen any of her work, and there's a guy who's maybe hung a little bit, let's say he's a bit more than you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna straight up. I was intimidated. For our first date, we stayed in a hotel for the weekend, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, right, what can I show her that she's not seen before? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie at all. I remember it well. But yeah, like, you get on, don't you? And you get on with people, and she made me comfortable with it, and.
Yeah, you see, obviously, you're so relaxed about it, but like, obviously, for people like obviously myself and Andy, it's like, I can imagine that you just get used to it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You just get used to the fact that go to work, obviously you're there to do a job, aren't you? And then you come back, and then that's it. Like you got to pay mortgages, you got to pay bills, and however you do that, it's up to you.
Yeah, completely. I have full respect to everyone in the industry. I like to say the good thing was, I mean, it's nice because I knew nothing about that life. She introduced me to it. She introduced me to all her friends and other people, and I made some good friends, and they're lovely people. And like I say, like I had preconceived ideas, and it's totally changed all that. And I think life's all about experiencing it. It's all about perspective. And at the end of the day, I've just I've seen it from their perspective now, and I can only tell other people that. You know what I mean? Until they see it themselves, they don't know. So. The porn industry is always going to be a taboo thing, but come on, it's like the biggest. What's it like? The biggest, second biggest industry in the world. It's never going to die. It's never going to stop selling.
It's the oldest industry as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen the statistics on Pornhub? So Facebook. So to get 250 million users, I think Facebook took like 3 years. Google took anyway. Pornhub took 19 days to get from 0 users to 250 million. It's insane.
At the end of the year as well, when they put like the most viewed websites, I don't think they put porn on it, do they? Because
it would be fucking way
ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's it's just something else in life, isn't it? It's just something else to learn.
Well, like
about.
you say, it's been going on for fucking God knows how long have people watched people.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
And actually, do you know what? Like people go to me, I can't believe you do porn or whatever, or it's actually very free. And look, I enjoy sex. I like every girl that I speak to, I'm open. I enjoy sex. It's not something that anyone should be ashamed about. It's a natural thing. Everyone watches porn. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like probably people are a little bit like, I can't believe how open he is or whatever. But come on, it's like I say, everyone does it.
What about some of the girls that they like? Because you always hear like, I'm trying to like. I've watched the Louis Theroux documentary that he did, and like there's people always like, yeah, maybe a few years and then I'll get out the industry. It's like that. I want to try and get out of it, but. Is that the sort of vibe that, or people just enjoy, just see how long it's going to last and then just play it by ear? That sort of.
I think we're like, obviously with me, like I've got into the industry in quite a difficult period now, like in COVID. So obviously studios aren't open and everything else. So what a lot of the girls and guys in the industry have done now is obviously go through the OnlyFans stuff and making their own scenes and stuff like that. So. I'm not going to stand here and go, oh, well, I've done all these scenes and stuff like that in studios. That's all to come, and we'll see how I get on. But
we spoke about OnlyFans before, didn't we? Anyway, and we've seen like how absolutely insane, like some of the money that, and the way that, like we've spoke about this so many times, but it's. I think OnlyFans works now because people are so willing to pay for people are more willing to pay for content ever than before. Like you only have to look. I've got a Netflix subscription. I've got Amazon Prime subscription. You're willing to pay that subscription fee every month, and then I mean it's brilliant for people that can.
You're getting something a bit more designed to you as well. If someone likes what you're about, you pay for Netflix. You're getting a bit of everything. You don't have to shit on Netflix. You don't watch anyway. Whereas if I'm paying for you every month. I know what I'm getting, don't I?
Well, like predominantly my fan base are gay. Do you know what I mean? Like,
mate, really, I've had a few people on Instagram, gay guys, 2 or 3, asking me if I've got an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
If there's like an opportunity for like a stump fetish or something.
Do you know what? It's just, I'm not going to go and speak for all gay guys out there, but I think they like the man. They like macho man. And
you've got the look, haven't you, man? You're fucking bare knuckle boxer.
Yeah, so that obviously works in my favour a lot. Being they do like all that. So, but look, I get on with all my gay fans and that. It's still a compliment that people find you attractive, find you sexy or whatever. I'm live and let live. So I'm very much I've got a lot of gay friends and stuff like that. So that's not
What did the gay guys want to see then on the OnlyFans? No, as in like. I'm just thinking if you're you know, you can type in on Pornhub, whatever, fucking blowjob porn or something. I mean, if I'm a gay guy, I maybe don't want to be seeing some chick suck your dick. I want to see something else.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed. Like, I was doing scenes, you know, I was doing scenes with 2 girls and all doing all this stuff, but actually that wasn't the stuff that was selling best. The solo stuff was the stuff that was selling best. You know what I mean? So yeah, like you say, they actually don't want to see me with other girls. You know what I mean? So
did you need a lot of convincing? Did you, by your missus at the time, to get into it?
No, not really. No, it was just, I mean, like I say, I was seeing the money she was earning, and you know, the fun she was having really with it, and we sort of just sat down and went, look, you know, with me coming from the boxing side of things, her with the name with the porn, it was like, you know, let's make this work. And at the start, we were doing stuff together and it was going really well. A lot of couples even do like OnlyFans pages, like dedicated to them as a couple. Do you know what I mean? So we sort of spoke about that, and then obviously we split up, and I was just getting a lot of offers to do scenes with girls and stuff like that, and I was single at the time. I thought, why not? Like, the first scene I got offered was with 2 girls, and I thought, go on then.
Mate, are you nervous walking in? Like, are you gonna get
the maddest thing ever, right? It was hilarious. So I've walked in, bearing in mind I've never met these girls, I've just gone straight upstairs.
No coffee, tea?
No coffee, no tea. I must have only been there like 10 minutes. And I've gone up there, obviously.
What was the scene?
It wasn't even a scene, it was just to go up there and sort of introduce myself to the girls, and then we shot a scene after that. So we went into a gym and shot like a gym scene in there. So yeah.
Are you watch the prep? You what I talking about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the it sounds so fucking. What's the prep? Is in the sense of you thinking, right, I'm not having a wank for a couple of days. I'm thinking I'm taking Viagra. What's the?
I mean, I would say that you've got to take a Viagra because you're gonna be at it for a while. Do you know what I mean? So it was. I was definitely glad that I took a Viagra. But it's something again. Like once I'd sort of had that first one, the next one wasn't bad. Then it just got easier as it went on. But that first one was a bit of a shock to the system. Getting there, literally the girl grabbed me by the hand and just went, right, come with me. I was like, whoa, right, here we go.
You don't have it, yeah, fuck it, it's mad. I know we're drilling you with these mad questions. It's just like, it's fascinating. It's just fascinating just because you don't really hear about like.
Yeah, no, it's.
I think it's right, don't make what you say, like sex is, you know, everyone enjoys sex and it shouldn't be this secret of like, oh, you know, when.
It shouldn't be, it really shouldn't. Like, that's one thing that I am grateful of, that my ex-girlfriend give me that whole, you know, like beforehand I thought I was a bit of a boy and, you know, I enjoyed it and everything else, but she has made me very comfortable with sex now, like, and I do like that, you know, like I say, I've got loads of gay fans and stuff like that, and, you know, none of this phases me anymore, you know, I've been through it and stuff like that, and I do think it's very open, you know, it's very freeing, do you know what I mean? 'Cause it just makes you feel, it's just not a taboo thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think what you mentioned before about having a missus, the only thing that had put me off, I might laugh when I say this, but you know, when there's obviously loads of different types of sex, there's like, you know, there's fucking hardcore sex, there's the fucking love making, hair stroking sex and everything in between. I think it'd be hard dating someone who's a porn star, and when you're having your love making sex and all that, and you've got a vision in your head of like 4 guys standing over a fucking jizzing in a face. Do you know what I mean? That'd kill me, that.
Well, here's one for you. So my very, very good friend, he's, you know, he's a fighter, had loads of MMA fights, doing the bare knuckle now. He's got a girlfriend, absolutely stunning girlfriend, model, everything else. Probably the biggest gay porn star in the world, like huge, like.
Really?
Wow.
So, and again, like we talk and you know, we get the industry. Do you know what I mean? So. Yeah, we get it.
How does he do that?
He has to inject to get a hard on, but he's again ex-military, spent a bit of time in jail and stuff like that. Come out and was like, look, you know, I'm not going to be earning this kind of money anywhere else. And he's the straight guy in the gay porn world, and he's caking it. He's
really, that's fascinating, that, isn't it? Yeah. There was a guy in that Louis Theroux documentary who was straight and was doing on the set. I think the second documentary he did when he went back to LA to meet some of the porn stars that he'd met in 2001 or whenever he did his first one. There was a straight guy who was doing gay porn there.
Well, like gay porn, like every man wants to do straight porn. So, like I said earlier, like you're not getting. You're getting £100, £200 a scene. Do you know what I mean? Whereas doing the gay scene, you're probably getting £1,000 a scene. Do you know what I mean? So,
what does his missus think about that? She's
completely cool with it. She understands the industry. She's been with him a long time and everything else. They're completely cool. And like,
that is crazy, that, isn't it?
On that, then, have you set yourself kind of boundaries and things like that of what you will and won't do?
Yeah,
just in your own head.
Yeah, I mean. With me, the porn thing is I don't have to do it with the fighting. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the things I enjoy doing it. And I feel like I can, with the name from the fighting, I can do something in the industry. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm not in it for the money. So, if there's something I don't want to do, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it probably helps you, like we talked about marketing before, but when we were driving down, or when Andy first mentioned that you were coming on, you have to think of bare knuckle boxer and porn star. That's it's a bit of a mad combination, isn't it?
Your Instagram as well, for people follow you and that, mate. You got a cool Instagram, it's cool as fuck. You got the fucking long hair, the fucking mate. It's like you fit into the career you're in, the bare knuckle fighting and the porn. It's
just especially as well, the whole Viking thing at the minute is big. Like every girl that I speak to is like, "Have you seen the Viking? Have you seen that program, The Vikings? You look like him." And that's very big at the minute. So I'm going to play on it.
And what do the bare knuckle, I don't know, the board or whoever? What do they think of it? Do they?
Hilarious. Hilarious. So before I remember being in this gym. Speaking to David Feldman, the promoter of BKFC, and he's like, "You've got to stop this porn. You've got to stop it." And I was like, I'm not going to. Do you know what I mean? And then I went to the show in Miami just to go watch a show, and it was hilarious. Again, I've seen David, and he's come up to me and he's shaking his head like this. He goes, "You got to stop this banging, man." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes like, "You got to stop all this banging before a fight." Like my dad used to tell me not to, have sex a few weeks before a fight, and it's bad for you and all this and like that. And I was like, "Look, David, I promise you, I've been doing it my whole career." I was like, "I'm alright." So anyway, the show's done and all that. I've seen him in the morning, and I kid you not, he's come up to me, shaking his head again. He's going, "You really got to stop this banging, man." Like that, and I was just like, right. So they're.
But why don't they like it then?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, because. I explained to people, I went to that show in Miami, I caused a lot of shit by jumping in the ring.
I seeing that,
yeah, and stuff like that. I got escorted out by security. Who did I see in the elevator? Kendra Lust, world.
But even on that video, you dressed, you got this fucking goal, you're looking.
So it was just, and I just said to them, she started mentioning me in her stories and pictures and stuff like that. I was like, this woman's got 2 million followers on Instagram, and let's face it, the porn industry and the fight industry do probably work hand in hand a little bit. The same people who are watching, the guys that are watching porn are watching bare knuckle boxing. Let's face it, we sort of
they are kind of intertwined, I guess, aren't they? And it's proper. Stripping it right back, it's two things of human nature we've always done. Humans have always fought, and humans have always had sex. It's kind of very primitive, isn't it?
For me, it's really like that. You being like that, it's got an air of, it's just appealing combination in the sense that you've got in boxing, you've got for example, we talked about AJ, very you could call them very corporate, big, whereas on the flip side, you've got you got bare knuckle boxing, which in itself is mad sport. It's very appealing, I think, for people, and maybe that's why bare knuckle boxing is growing so fast, that people are maybe a bit bored of, you only have to look like Conor McGregor in UFC, how well he, exploded UFC.
Look across like puppets, can't they, I guess, in the mainstream media.
Well, I think with like we said earlier, the fight game has become a popularity contest, really. But let's face it, your combat sport casual fan just wants to see blood, guts, and someone get knocked out. And bare knuckle boxing does that. Out of 10, 11 fights on the card, probably one of them's going the distance. Do you know what I mean? That Yuli Diaz, when I watched him in Miami, recorded like the fastest knockout in combat sports. It was like 3 seconds. So that you toe the line. So you both stood in the middle of the ring. Literally, he's just fainted, his jab, boom, right hand, and the guy's asleep.
Just gone.
Just asleep. And when stuff like that happens, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
He just dropped. I was like, literally the first punch. I was like, whoa, this is different.
Mate, so you've got this kind of porn thing now going on the side. You're champion, and then you've gone off to America. What was the reason for that?
So yeah, I was. Going back to this time last year, I was training to fight in BKB in the UK against a guy called Jimmy Sweeney, who, Jimmy's had 27 bare knuckle fights. Irish traveller. They call him the king and stuff like that. Again, I was going up a weight to fight him in my 4th fight. Trained like 12 weeks for it, and then a week before the fight, it was called off because of COVID. So. It was pretty devastating after all that hard work. And then about a month or so later, BKFC had tried to sign me previously a year before, and I stayed and fought Sean George. I wanted that fight and I stayed. So they then tried to get hold of me again, was like, look, we still want to sign you. So at that point, they were offering me double the amount of BKB, where it's in America, the main stage, and it was just like, it was a no-brainer really. I was just like, look, it's time to go over to America now. And then all the madness happened with COVID. Like I said to you earlier, my best friend sucker punched me. I literally got it's just my life, I suppose. About 2-3 weeks before that happened, I got the contract and everything to go to America. I was going to go out there, in a couple of months. And then, got in an application, and my best friend sucker punched me and snapped my jaw both sides. I had plates put in, screws put in, I had 6 teeth taken out. And I remember getting back into training after a week. I had to get back into training. I was like, I've got to go to America. Got to do this, like more to prove to myself that I can do it. Do you know what I mean? It was through all that I could still go out there, I can still fight. So got back training, got back doing my CrossFit and everything else, and then just went for America. They said, look, when can you get out there? And I said, well, at the time, obviously with COVID, I had to quarantine in Dubai, have to be in a low risk level country for 14 days before you can be in a high risk. So me and my brother, that's the only way I can explain him now, is Mark Godbeer, ex-UFC fighter and bare knuckle fighter. Now we both just went out there. It was funny because me and Mark knew each other, but we'd never actually met in person. And we both wrote each other and was like, look, we just need to get out to America. So about a week before, we just booked it and just went, right, let's go. And we met at Heathrow Airport, and we sat on the plane like this on an Emirates flight. It's one of them flights with 3 seats, 4 seats. Do you know what I mean? So in the middle of me and Mark is this lovely woman. She was like, I don't know, early 50s I suppose, lovely woman. Got chatting to her, I'm a boxer, she's looking me on Instagram, I'm going to be a fan and all this. So Mark's then turned around to me and gone, there you go, there's a Valium, right? He's giving me a Valium tablet, right? So on these Emirates fights, it's like free bar in it. So, I've had a couple of wines and stuff like that. Next thing you know, honestly, I woke up, right? Everyone's off the plane. Right? I woke up, I've turned sick everywhere. Right? So I got off the plane, sick down the jump like that. I got to Mark, I was like, what the fuck happened? He's like, you've been sick all over that woman. I just had to get up and go, mate. He's like, I just had to get up and leave. He's like, just turn around and was sick all over the woman. And that. I literally woke up as the plane had landed. Everyone's off the plane like, oh, fucking hell. That was the first time I'd ever met Mark, and that was on the way to Dubai. So,
did you do much in Dubai then in those 14 days, or do you have to stay in a hotel?
No, we trained really hard out there. To be fair, we tried. Yeah, we had some really good gyms. They had like UFC gyms out there and stuff like that. Yeah, we got some real good training. Obviously, had the heat. It was really hot out there as well. So,
with your profile being as it is and your Instagram, and you must be getting messages of people firing the DMs all the time, especially if you're in Dubai and people see it out there and stuff.
Like another story I've got to tell you. So we're in Dubai. So obviously I flicked my Tinder on.
as you do.
And I've met up with a girl on one of the beach clubs. And me and Mark have gone down there. We've only got like tracksuit bottoms and everything else on. And she goes to us, do you want to go to this Sheikh's penthouse party? I was like, yeah, go on then. So we've gone there, and it was at this place called Five Hotel. And I tell you what, honestly, this hotel was unbelievable, right? And we pulled up, we've met this sheikh, he's just put us in the elevator, boom, gone to this top penthouse like that, gone in this room, free drink, free shishas, with all due respect, guys in dresses, where they're Arabs, all the sheikhs and that, there were midgets running around for entertainment, and I kid you not, right, supermodel birds, like Eastern European, Russian, Ukrainian, all that, right? So me and Mark are in there having a few drinks and everything else. There's midgets running about. And I honestly, like, these girls obviously think we're caked up. Do you know what I mean? We're amongst it with all these Arab sheikhs and all that. So we've got like supermodels sitting on our leg. We've got a supermodel next to us. We've got a supermodel the other side of that. One would get up to go get a drink. Another one would come back down like that. So the DJ's giving me the microphone. I'm fucking talking nonsense. Do you know what I mean? It was so funny. So they had an after party at the hotel in one of the suites, and this girl that I went with, I could sort of tell the sheikh really liked her, right? And me being me, I'm sort of going up to her, kissing her, hugging her, and everything else. And I could tell he didn't like it. So we've gone back to the after party, and this sheikh had a bodyguard with him, and I'm obviously Mark Godbeer's like an absolute beast, 6'5", 90 stone, like ex-UFC fighter. Do you know what I mean? So we were pretty much doing what we want with all these girls and everything else. And the girl I was with come up to me when I'm really drunk at this point, and she popped something in my mouth like that, and popped something in Mark's mouth like that. And I kid you not, boom, done, spiked out like that. She goes, oh, like that, and put it in like that, me being drunk. I've done it, and next thing I know, I just woke up in my pants, in one of the rooms in the hotel like that. I'm not here, I'm gonna stay here like that. I rang Mark up, I was like, Mark, what's going on? He's like, I don't know, I just blacked out like that. So it obviously just spiked us to get rid of us. Do you know what I mean? But,
Jesus.
But yeah, that was an interesting thing.
Fucking hell, that's a mad party, that, isn't it?
Dubai's got, I think, that CDC into it, hasn't it? Like that kind of.
Oh, I mean, like you know, me and Mark, we're like brothers now. Honestly, it's been really nice, because the thing with Mark is Mark's like what 37, 38, and I remember him saying, like, I'll never forget it. He turned around to me. We've got all these supermodels with us. We're in this penthouse party like that, and he just turned around and went, "Welcome to the layer cake, my son." Like that. And he went, "Look, I've been doing this for years." He's fought in Vegas like 4 times. He said, "Mate, I've been doing this for years." So that was like my first sort of like in that, you know, the big time kind of stuff and all that. So yeah, he's just been telling me loads of stuff, and it's been nice, because one thing about boxing is like it's a rock and roll lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? It's very high and it's very low. Yeah. And when the lows come, the lows are low. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to talk to someone who's been through it. Yeah. And he said, look, you know, although this is fun, you know, it does come to an end and it don't last forever and everything else. You know what I mean? So yeah, Mark's become a.
How is your kind of going from that story to this, like, quite a serious question? How's your mental health being through that? Because I've found with my life completely different to yours, but my highs have been like fucking high.
Yeah.
Not as, supermodels sitting around me in Dubai, but I mean, just little things from being in like top events, similar kind of, wow, you're on top of the world and stuff. And then, a week later I'll be lying in bed, all day, can't get up, fucking, nothing on for the rest of the week. I've got no plans, no work, nothing, and you think, fucking hell, last week I was on the piss there, and then now how have you, like, with your highs being so high and lows being so low, how have you coped?
Like when I got back from England, I struggled, like being in Vegas, and like you say, being in them. Everyone was talking about you, everyone, the fighting and everything else. And then I come back to England, and be honest, I hit the drink quite heavy for a couple of weeks, because it was just like, I think the biggest thing with boxing, like I've tried to retire from boxing like 6 times. Do you know what I mean? I have, and I think probably most fighters have, because there's that part of us that, like, we want a normal life, but we just can't live that normal life. Do you know what I mean? So when we retire, it's almost like we lose our identity a little bit. People aren't coming up to you, when's your next fight, how's training going? You very much lose your identity. So that's something that you struggle with. Do you know what I mean? And off the back of obviously the America thing, a lot of stuff happened with my payment and all that. So I was like, threw my toys out the pram, like, right, I'm retired again, I'm not doing it, I'm not going to risk my life, I'm not getting paid properly and everything else. So yeah, I definitely struggle with that. I mean, I've been seeing therapists, and I openly take medication and everything. It's something that I've struggled with for years, like, but it's just biggest thing for mental health is routine, training, and just living a clean life. And the trouble is, I don't turn to that after fighting. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know what I should be doing after a fight. They call it the boxer's crash. No matter whether you win or you lose, like you're on cloud 9 for 2 or 3 days, but what goes up has got to come back down. So, and that's why you find that, after a week off, most fighters are itching to get back in the gym, because they're like,
just need that routine again.
I need to get back training. I need a goal. I need something. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I know, like I say, I know what I should be doing. I should be getting back training, keeping myself, occupied.
It's that saying, isn't it? Like, what is it? Do as I say, not as I do.
I don't think I've ever done it. Like after a fight, I'll probably go missing for like a month. It's a hard one. Like I say, I know what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So what happened over in America then when you got over there?
So, I went to Vegas. So yeah, I got the flight from Dubai to Vegas. I stayed with my friend out there for about 2 weeks, and then I went to Miami. Went to the Miami show. Yeah, just got my head down training, and then at the time, Mark Godbeer, his gym or his training camp was in Atlanta, so I was based in Vegas. And he just kept ringing me. We got on so well, it was like a training thing. He just went, do you know what, I've got to come to Vegas. And I was like, come on in. So he come over to Vegas, and yeah, we just done all our training there. And I mean, it wasn't ideal. I mean, neither of us had a trainer. We were living in a hotel room. And at the time, obviously COVID, you couldn't, the rooms weren't being cleaned. You had no laundry, no nothing like that. I'm trying to make weight. Trying to make weight in America is difficult as well, especially Vegas. Because
just the food, everything. Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Trying to find something like good to eat on the strip was a myth. So, we had a great time, but it was I don't want to disrespect anyone by saying it, but probably the worst training camp I ever had. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, it just wasn't what I usually do. I mean, I just had to make the best of a
bad situation.
Really. And luckily I had my friend Christine Ferreira out there, who's a bare knuckle fighter, so they do women's bare, and she is just a badass. I mean, if you look at her stuff, I mean, she's just savage, mate. And so I met up with her, and literally she bent over backwards to try and help me, like just got me sparring pads, took me Mark. Like I say, we caught COVID 2 weeks out from the fight. Mark was in hospital, coughing blood, double pneumonia. Christine was taking us to hospitals and getting us tests and everything else. And yeah, that was like, I'd say more than anything, that was just stressful when we had COVID, because obviously at that point, I think we'd been out there like 6-7 weeks, spent all that money to get there, and obviously you don't get paid unless you fight. So both of us, we sat there ill like that, and it was just like, if we're going to keep this dream alive, one of us has got to get paid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we've got no money. So I was towards it. So yeah, fight week. So I was fighting on the Friday. On the Saturday, again, I swear to you on everything, this is a true story. I'm sat in with Christine next to me in her car. We sat in the like the COVID testing place. I'm literally there with Q-tips. I'm spraying disinfectant on it. I'm shoving it up my nose. I'm scrubbing the back of my head like that. I was like, boom, right, let's go. I went in there, negative test, got that test, boom, get me on the flight to Mississippi. And I went, and I fought like 4 days later, yeah. So.
How did you get on in the fight?
I won unanimous, put him over in the first round. It wasn't my best performance. It was a bit laboured. And stuff like that, but you know, I got the job done, and against Charles Bennett, who's like a legend in America. He's like had like 75 pro MMA fights, fought in Pride, like a Pride veteran and all that. So
that's not 4 fights, 4 wins now.
Yeah. So it was great, and it wasn't quite the fight I wanted. You know, I wanted someone who, like I said earlier, someone who comes and have a fight with me. Felony, you know, sort of stuck on the back foot, tried to counter me and stuff like that. It wasn't like an attractive fight to watch. It was just like be honest, I put him over in the first round with my right hand, and once he sort of had a taste of that, he just got on his bike, and it made it a difficult fight really to look good in. But like I say, I got the win, and then yeah, just went back to Vegas.
What's oh, go on.
Just spent Christmas and New Year in Vegas, which was fun.
Is the porn star game not picking up again in Vegas, or what?
So I done a scene with a girl out there, but again, a lot of the the studios and places like that weren't open. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Who was the Brazilian girl on your Instagram?
Oh yeah, so she was a Playboy model. Yeah, she was nice. Yeah, I went and I met her in Miami.
You look like you were fun anyway.
Miami was interesting. I mean, I might as well say it now because everyone knows about it. So the first night I was in Miami, this boxing manager kept messaging. Like, I introduced myself and that, you know, and she gave me her number and everything else, and we were all staying in the same hotel because we're all, you know, obviously part of the show. So she's messaging me. I'm in a strip club in Miami till about 5 in the morning. She's messaging me, come back to my room when you get back to the hotel. Do this, right? So me, I've had a few drinks, obviously. Go on then. Next day, my manager's, I'm getting mass messages off this bed again. And I was like, turned around to my manager and went, look, you know, this girl won't leave me alone. He goes, whatever you do, don't fuck this chick. That's the commissioner's wife, like that. And I was like, you know, I just went, alright. And I thought, fuck, like that. And then obviously, she's messaging me, stuff like that. She's come up to me at the pool like that. And she's told a couple of other people as well, because she's got one of the women fighters. She goes, he's come up to me and goes, watch Charlie, I heard he bangs like a motherfucker, like that. Right? Honestly, like that. So it's come to my fight, which like a month later, and the woman's only got pissed up at the after party, showing everyone the messages and everything else. So
fucking hell.
I've gone back to Vegas. My manager's ringing me up going, so-and-so's looking for you. Everyone's found out, and like that. And I said, well, look, I'm in Vegas. And I was there for another 2 months. I said, look, you know, I'm just going to have to fucking thingy with it. If he wants to come talk to me, he's going to have to come talk to me. Nothing's happened with it. So we'll see when we go out there now.
Fuck.
the crazy thing is, these Americans have got fucking guns, ain't they?
Are you still going to be able to fight? Are they going to stop you from fighting and stuff, are they, or what?
So, he's the so the person in question is the commissioner of Mississippi and all southern states. So,
Right.
I would doubt I
Just
can
don't fight there, no.
south. Yeah, so...
But it doesn't cover. He doesn't cover Vegas, then.
no, not the other states and that. So it's just more like south and stuff like that. But
That's interesting.
That's a
Yeah.
fucking funny
So,
story, that, isn't it?
yeah, and then the next day, this is a good story as well, actually. So the next day, I've obviously done all the madness in the ring. Luis Palomino in Miami, all the Cuban community fucking hate me. I had Cubans jumping up on the side of the ring saying they were going to kill me. That's why I had to be escorted out.
Jesus.
Anyway, I've gone to the after. The after party was downstairs, but my manager's like, "You can't come down. It's, it will kick off." And I said, "Oh, fuck that." So I put a tracksuit on, I put my mask on, put a hat on. I've gone incognito. Do you know what I mean? I've gone down there, and I'm actually stood next to my manager. My manager's just like, "Fucking hell, you're here." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I can't stay in my room. Fuck that." So later on that night, we had a little bit of I had a weird thing with Hector Lombard, like this UFC fighter, right? He does bare knuckle as well, so he's really well known, this Hector Lombard, Cuban guy. And he said something to me earlier, just trying to be like the alpha male, do you know what I mean? Because we were around a lot of women and stuff like that. Anyway, that night, I'm sat there, I'm smoking on my THC pen like that. I've got my hair down, I thought, fuck it, do you know what I mean? It don't matter, I'll take the hat off. And he's with this super attractive model girl, right? Super attractive. Anyway, next thing you know, she's only come up to me and started playing with my hair, right? She's stroking my hair and all this, so obviously that Lombard's gone fucking mad. He's like, "You trying to make me jealous, girl?" And all this, to like shouting off like this, and I've just been like, "Fuck you," do you know what I mean? You, like what you said earlier to me, I'm gonna take your bed. Next thing I know, like they're fucking arguing, all that. They've gone their separate ways like that. Next thing I know, she come and spent like a weekend with me in Vegas. So, and then the next day in Miami, I met the Brazilian Playboy model. So 3 days, I was ruthless.
Fucking hell.
Got shit done.
I want to come to the States with you, Jesus.
Yeah.
So you went over there, you won your fight, you done the rounds and literally done the rounds.
Yeah, done the rounds and then come back and then go back out there again.
When do you go back out there then?
So I think this time we just want to go like 2 weeks before the fight, because it was staying in America, staying in Vegas, Miami and all that. It was just so expensive.
Where were you staying in Vegas?
I was staying, so at the start I was just staying on the Strip in hotels, Planet Hollywood, all that lot, and the Mirage and all that kind of stuff. And then I got an apartment for like 2 months, and it was a lovely apartment just off the Strip and that. Like, I love Vegas. Vegas is great. Like, I liked Vegas. Obviously, it's fighting capital of the world. Like, you walk in the gyms, world champion trainer. The connections you made out there were insane. And as well, I started training at like a Mexican boxing gym as well, and it was almost like a bit of a ghetto boxing gym, full of Mexicans. No one spoke any English, but everyone just got in there and done their thing. Do you know what I mean? It was just hard.
Back to basic, yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in there, but I loved Vegas. Like Fremont Street was my favourite. I liked
Fremont Street's brilliant.
I love that place. Just like training in the day.
Fremont, they call it, don't they?
Yeah, you just go down there and you've got a guy rapping and trying to make it as a rapper. You got break dancing. You've got a band there. You've got someone else doing. So it was just. Yeah.
I got this great photo with this like 70-year-old woman who had a placard saying "Finish on my face." Brilliant.
Yeah, I think like, if you don't walk down there and just feel like,
yeah,
cool. I like the energy a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to make it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's trying to do something.
It's very natural down there. It's just back to basics. Just
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So yeah, a lot of the time I just used to, obviously cannabis is legal out there, so I used to just spark up a joint and just go walk down Fremont Street and just chill out down there. So that was a nice sort of end to my day most days. I went to Mount Charleston as well. That was really cool. We done what's called the Mary Jane Trail. So went to like 10,000 elevation and all that. That was really cool. Christmas Day, I went to the Mob Museum.
Did you?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I got to see a lot of Vegas. Obviously, with training, you associate Vegas with just going out there and getting fucked up, don't you, really? But luckily with training, obviously, I wasn't drinking and stuff like that. So I got to see a lot of Vegas really, which was cool.
I'm looking at you now, and you know you're sitting here now. You're on the brink of going back to the States. What 4-0 then in the fighting?
Yeah.
OnlyFans, porn stars, nailing hot women wherever you go. Where'd you go from here? I mean, what's the fucking plan?
Don't know. Only way down, isn't it?
It is.
I don't know what's going to get you in more trouble, mate. Your fists or your fucking dick.
Honestly, like, yeah. Neither do I. my friend Joe, even before I went out to America, mate, listen, he goes, "You're going to be a Netflix documentary, you are." And he's like, "It's going to be who shot you, who killed you." Like, out of all these women out there, it's like, you are going to be a Netflix documentary. And I'm like,
mate, I'd watch it.
what a story.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, it's just, look, I've been through a lot of, like I say, I've done all the being unhappy when I'm training and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing for me now, and what I generally do think why I'm performing the way I do, is because I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. Like, I'm enjoying my training. I'm genuinely excited about fighting. Bare Knuckles really, it's just revamped me. You know, I had like 7 years as a pro glove boxer, gone through all this shit, you know, just being ripped off by promoters and everything else. And I remember that, like I say, my last fight, before I even got banned, I was thinking this might be my last fight. I was like, I'm not getting the same love for it anymore. I'm not getting the same buzz for it. And then Bare Knuckles just completely changed that now. The motivation's back. You know, I want, like, I'm training harder than ever. Like I say, I'm willing to just go out to America on my own. That's how much I want to do this. So,
do you have any goals within Bare Knuckle Boxing then? What you want to achieve, or?
Yeah, so I, you know, obviously getting in the ring, that Palomino won the world title. I've absolutely pissed all over his moment. He's got the microphone. He's going, "I've trained my whole life to do this," and I've just jumped in the ring, gone boom. Took the mic off him. Now you've won the chance to fight the real man. So, and actually,
yeah,
yesterday,
he wasn't happy, was he?
No, he wasn't happy. Neither of his mates. They weren't happy. But he put up a video up yesterday on Instagram saying, like, calling everyone out from. He's going, from 145 to 165, like reeling off all these names. And I was like, where's my name? Like, I've done a video to him. I was like, mate, you mentioned all these people. I was like, I mugged you off in front of all your mates, all your family when you won that. Don't you want to shut me up? Like, I'm unbeaten. Like, he knows I'm the only guy who can really touch him, and that's why he's not talking about me. So I'm going to go out there, fight whoever they put in front of me in May, and then I want that Palomino fight in Miami in front of all his friends and family, and I'm going to smash him up in front of everyone he knows. That's the dream.
I'd say I'd come over and support you, but I'd end up fucking shot as well. And shot in some after party.
Yeah, so that's the dream. Do you know what I mean? I want to be in these big fights. I want to be, for me, like, even though there's a world title strapped to that, like, it's legacy, man. Like, the fights they remember, like, geez, that mad English fucker went over there, jumped in the ring, done all the madness, and then he did come back to Miami and he fought him and beat him in his hometown in front of all his mates. He said he was going to do it and he went and done it. You know, I'm not one of these people, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not saying it for the effect. I'm going to do it. Like, as soon as I got to that Miami, I said to all the production team, I was like, I'm going to get in the ring, I'm going to jump in that ring. Because my mate Dean, because I own a clothes shop in my hometown, and my mate Dean, who works in there, when I got back from England, he went, mate, you done exactly what you said you were going to do. It's like, I remember you sitting there in the shop and you said to me, when you go to Miami, you're going to storm the ring. And he said, you fucking went and done it. I thought, I told you I'm going to do it. So I'm not one of them people who, like, I say I do something, I do it. So this fight in Miami, that's the fight I want. And I'm not just saying it for effect. Yeah, it's going to be.
And then obviously, you know, it's obviously Bare Knuckle Boxing growing as well, mate. So I presume, is it not on Sky Sports, or do they put it on TV on different channels? Or
they've actually, I mean, BKFC have actually got an app that they show, and it's like the 17th most downloaded app in the world.
Right.
So they're getting a lot, like, you know, pay-per-views and stuff like that. But I think the last fight when Paige Van Zandt fought on it and stuff like that, I think it was like shown by, well, they're saying that ESPN were going, because it was on Super Bowl weekend, so, which is obviously massive over there. So ESPN covered it and stuff like that, and you got people like Shaquille O'Neal investing in BKFC and stuff like that now, like proper, you know, like he's like, you watch TV over in the US and Shaquille O'Neal's on every advert.
Yeah.
He's like advertising everything.
yeah,
So you need people like that to make this sport mainstream, because it is brutal. Do you know what I mean? It is brutal. So it's going to be hard getting it on like Sky Sports and things like that, because, you know, it is just so brutal. But
when they see, it's the same thing we've talked about. When obviously the attention's there, and when Sky and all the big, they see the attention's there, they won't give a fuck if it's brutal or not. If it brings people in and people watch it, then it makes them money.
It's too brutal, though, I think, innit?
It's just. I mean, it's just facial damage, and it's just blood. I mean, sometimes it looks a lot worse than it is. Do you know what I mean? You get the thing with, you know, you can get hit with a jab with a glove on, nothing's going to happen. You get hit with a jab with a bare knuckle, you can have 20 stitches in your face. Do you know what I mean? It will just, I've seen people's face just tear. Do you know what I mean? So,
Jesus.
Yeah, the facial damage is obviously a hell of a lot worse and stuff like that. But I actually think, you know, and it's been proven, it's actually safer than glove boxing, because glove boxing, like I say, 10 threes, 12 3-minute rounds, constant getting hit. That's when you're seeing people get killed or get bleeds on the brain, or it's prolonged punishment. You know, you get hit bare knuckle, you're gonna get knocked out. It's fight over, it's done with. It's only 5 2-minute rounds. You know, it's quick, and there'll be a lot of facial damage, but actually don't take as many punches, because one, you just can't. Do you know what I mean? Either your hands break or bust up, or get knocked out.
Your face now, though, like, say, from that video, and again, everyone who hasn't seen it, go on YouTube Unbroken. Your face now, compared to, it's fine, isn't it?
I mean, I've got a few scars, tattoo scarred and stuff like that, but that's just part and parcel. That one come from that tattoo. So obviously I fought the fight, we clashed heads. I got a few stitches and stuff like that, and I ended up just taking my stitches out in the hotel, and I was like, I've got to get a tattoo of that one. I was like, my first cut in America.
It's good, that.
So, yeah, just different memories, isn't it? Yeah.
Man, that's what I think life's about, mate. Just, you know, making memories and having someone where, you know, when you're old and you're sitting there in the pub and having a beer, and these are the stories you're going to talk about. These are things that people are going to remember you by, and you know.
That's like, for me, like, you can be the richest guy in the world, and you can, you know, but having them memories, having them stories. I've always said I want to be that person that, you know, I'm laid on a sun lounger in my 50s, and the guy next to me is having a beer, and we get chatting, and you know, I've just got interesting stuff to talk about. Do you know what I mean? Stuff I've done. I took a few risks, I made a few mistakes and everything else, but ultimately I've done what I wanted to do. And how many people can really say that at the end of the day they've done what they wanted to do? I'm lucky that, you know, I haven't made millions out of fighting and stuff like that, but, you know, and it's a pretty morbid thing to say, but I've said it to Mum, like, if I died tomorrow, I've had a sick life, I've had a good life, and, you know, you know,
You've got some stories,
some cool stuff, and, you know, and stuff like that. And I just think that's what it's all about.
I agree.
Mate, I've really enjoyed this. Yeah,
it's been
honestly,
mega.
it's been really
Awesome.
good.
Didn't have no idea what to expect, mate, but it's been awesome, mate. Yeah, so
it's been an absolute pleasure. I love it. Yeah, it's you know, like interesting guys as well, like coming from you, like doing from what you've done and stuff like that. That's why I like talking to people like yourself, because we can relate on a level. You know what I mean? Especially like with the whole mental health stuff. I don't know how it is with you, like coming out and just going from that routine of being in your job and being in the military and stuff like that. That's because I haven't been in the military, but I can imagine like I struggle with not having a routine, so I don't know how it is with you.
it's exactly the same, mate. When you said before that routine, it's kind of like you know what you need to do, but I went through a phase when I was medically discharged from the Marines. I went from being around this like elite brotherhood where you're training all the time, you're with your mates, you've got this, again, similar to like a sportsman's mentality, you know, and then suddenly I got pensioned off. Like you say, not a millionaire, but I had enough money where I didn't have to get up and go to work, which you think's great in one hand, but then whether I got up in the morning and went for a run or whether I just lied in my bed wanking myself silly all day, nothing actually changed.
No.
And suddenly then I was drinking too much, I was gambling too much.
Did you feel like you lost your identity?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I got a tattoo, you know, Royal Marine Commando, as soon as I got back from Iraq. So, and then I've been to Afghanistan and, you know, I'd done things in my life and was known for that. And then suddenly I'm just this guy with one leg now.
Normal life, like.
And I was like, fuck, my dad used to say to me, you know, when I went through a bit of a, you know, I never went to doctors, but I probably should have. Well, I definitely should have. My dad was like, listen, you know, you're doing the motivational speaking, but you may be doing, you know, 2 or 3 hours a week at it. Because it pays well, I can do 2 or 3 hours a week. And he said, it's more about routine. You need to get a routine. You need to just get, you know, you need to fucking get back into the normal world. He was like telling me off. He said, you need to just fucking, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a normal 9 till 5. Get back into the normal world. And I was like, I don't want to fucking be normal. Fuck being normal.
That is exactly what I say. Like I say, me and my friend Mark, like we just like, we ring each other up every day and we're just like, we just can't do this normal life. We just can't do it. It's not. You've had too many highs, too many lows. Like my life is literally boom, boom, like that. Like, but I wouldn't have it any other way. To be fair, do you know what I mean? I don't think I could. Like, you know, like my brother's the complete opposite of me. He's got, you know, his kids, he's married, he's settled down, he's got himself a good business and everything else, and then I'll go over and tell him the stuff I've been up to, and he's just like.
Yeah, no, mate, I'm the same, and again, I wouldn't have it any other way. I fucking love that, and that idea, mate. I'm very similar in the sense of I love meeting up on strangers or something. You're sitting there with a beer in the pub or something, and you get chatting. It's like fucking hell, and you're just exchanging stories like 2 old sea captains or something. You know what I mean? It's like.
But it must be nice. Like it must be quite therapeutic as like a motivational speaker to go and tell people, you know, about what you've done and the challenges you've faced and stuff like that. It must be quite therapeutic, do you know what I mean? Because I quite like, you know, I like talking about myself. but I like feeling that, you know, let's face it, people get mad and down and depressed about fucking minor shit. Minor shit. Like, you know, I've had some mad things happen in my life, and I've used boxing and that as a tool to cope with it, do you know what I mean? Or training, do you know what I mean? So, like, me now as a PT, like, I'd probably talk about, you know, losing weight and being fit and healthy is one thing, and that's what everyone wants, but actually just being healthy in your head, like, keep training, keeping, like I say, that routine and stuff like that, and it's very therapeutic being able to help people.
And it's keeping busy. Like whenever when you were, you know, 2 hours or 3 hours working 2 hours or 3 hours a week, it's like I always find sometimes with me, it's like when I just have time on my hands, that's when it's dangerous. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's why that keeping busy is so important. And man, I used to hate Sundays just because I had nothing to do on them.
Yeah, completely.
And it was like, fuck, like I need to do something, and then. You know,
that's the thing for me, mate, why gambling took a hold of me for a bit, because my highs are so high and my lows are so low. If someone said to me right now, right, okay, you know, you can win £50 a day gambling, you know, would you be happy with that? Next to, you know, what, 1,500 quid a month, you think, oh, that'd be nice for doing it. Or, you know, you can go big and you might win 10 grand today, or you might lose your money. I'd be like, fucking give me I'll have a go at the 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was kind of chasing those big highs and then the lows and then the high, and then getting yourself back. And I think that's why gambling became bad for me at one point, because it was just that. And some people are different. Some people would love to have a life where it's just a constant 6 or 7, 5, 6, 7 all the way. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I prefer to give me a few 9s and 10s
totally
and
get
then
that.
throw 1 and 2 in.
Because, like I say, and that, I'm not knocking anyone. Like my mates that I've gone to school with, you know, they're all settled down, they're all in their work, and you know, they've got families and everything else. Having that life, that normal life, scares the hell out of me. Do you know what I mean? It does. Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, you know, like I said to you, I've got kids myself, and I want to be part of their life and stuff like that. But there's still stuff that I want to achieve in my life. Do you know what I mean? There's still goals.
Yeah.
And I think, and the sad thing is, when them goals go, that's where it's going to be its toughest.
Yeah, definitely, mate. 100%.
And I think, just on that note, to end on what you've opened up on there, mate, I think from now seeing you on Instagram to then getting a chance to sit with you, mate, it's brilliant, because you know, you've got this bravado, Viking, cool as fuck, but mate, super humble guy who you know has been through it all as well, mate. So the fact you're able to open up was, I think a lot of people get a lot from it, mate. So
I think, like, you know, like we touched on it earlier, like mental health at the minute is massive. And the biggest thing is talking to people with experience who've been through it, like people like me and you. Like we've been through this. Like, it's not a normal life.
No.
You know what I mean? So we can give pointers to people. I don't want to sort of patronise people, but like, so I listen to some people's problems and stuff like that, and it's just a bit like, it's not really a problem. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that.
it's more perspectives needed a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Like I say, I'm not ashamed of it. I've had therapy for years, and I think everyone should go to therapy. I think it's just good to talk to someone. You find out a lot about yourself that you perhaps didn't know.
That was the kind of idea for the pod, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing it now for 2 years.
It's
and
a
just
bit like
talking to
therapy,
people,
yeah.
And we used to say, you know, it'd be the only time in the week where, you know, my phone goes down for a couple of hours and I'm just so invested into these two people.
Yeah.
Probably don't do that ever. Even when I'm watching the footy, I'm like that on my phone as well. Whereas,
I'm the same. Yeah.
So the podcast has been massive to talk to people, and that's the big thing, and it just
definitely.
talk to people.
Talking is massive. Like I say, like me and my friend Mark. Like, I know, and I hope he doesn't. I know that he wouldn't be bothered. We're very open about our mental health. We try and say things on social media and stuff like that, because I get people messaging me all the time, like really nice stuff, especially with the documentary. The best messages I've got with the documentary has been like, you've motivated me to get back in the gym, you've inspired me to get into boxing and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's amazing. Like, if I've got that kind of power to motivate people to get into boxing and have a go themselves, that's a lot of power. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, mate, yeah.
So you just got to use it wisely. Like I say, with me and Mark, we speak most days and things like that. We have up and down days and that. Now we're back training, it's totally different. It was funny because he sort of said when I was in Vegas, he's like, you're going to struggle when you get back to England because we're in lockdown, you've been in Vegas, it's going to be totally different. And I really did. It hit me hard. But he would be ringing me up and we'd just talk, do you know what I mean? We'd talk and we'd keep each other positive and be like, no, we're going to be fighting again soon. This year's going to be great. We're going to smash it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we got back training and we're like different people now. We ring each other up. He's singing down the phone to me of like, someone's trained today. Like, just a different person.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, why do I keep going through all this drinking and stuff like that after a fight, because that's not what makes me happy. Do you know what I mean? You sort of go in this downward spiral and you just get caught in a rut when actually you could just get a little bit of routine,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing. And I don't know why I break it. It's it's just something I keep doing.
Yeah.
Mate, you'd be known, if you're in the Marines, you'd be known as what we call a social hand grenade.
Right.
It's just like, you put them in a social situation, fucking goes off. Like, you know what I mean? Well, mate, all the best characters are normally classed as social hand grenades, mate. So take it as a compliment.
I'll take it. So I'm good on a night out.
I can imagine.
Hey, we'll get you up for the part 2 of the film soon, mate. And,
Oh no, thank you so much for your time, honestly.
mate,
I've really enjoyed
awesome,
this. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to push before we end it there?
I just want to thank all my support and that, really. Like I've been blessed from day one when I was an amateur. Couple of miles down the road, we used to like fill out a place. Everyone used to come watch me as a kid. We used to ram that place out. Then all of a sudden I'm fighting at the O2 and I was getting 500 people come down from here. Obviously me being out in America now, people haven't been able to get out there with COVID, but I know that people are they're gassed about getting out there and being able to follow my journey in America and that. So we call them the Fen Army because obviously we're from the Fens around here. So the Fen Army, they travel everywhere to watch me when I was in Manchester, everywhere. So I just want to thank them because
you're a super likeable guy. I can see why, mate. So
no, thank you very much.
Thanks again for your time.
Thank you so much, mate. Cheers.